This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update video for June 15th, 5:30 p.m. Here's a water vapor loop from LSU showing the dry air out in the Atlantic Basin that is out in front of our Invest 92L. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm talking about here. First of all these green, dark green areas are all dry, sinking air, and that's out in front of 92L Invest, which is back in here. And that they're moving kind of in tandem, but I have a feeling when this gets a little bit further west, it's not only going to have upper level winds destroy this system, but it's also going to have to deal with a lot of dry air. So this will end up being one of those remnant low type deals. Forecast has it going through the Greater Antilles here, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and Cuba, and it could dump some rain in the areas affected by the earthquake in Haiti. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that, but that would be a few days down the road. But looks like the good news is Invest 90L is not going to turn into anything significant, so especially with the situation in the Gulf of Mexico. This will end up making it into the Gulf at some point, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. Alright, back in 1972, Hurricane Agnes formed right around this time of the year. Right on this date, it was a tropical depression near the west tip of Cuba, right in here. And then it became a Category 1 hurricane and right up into Apalachicola, Florida. And thank God nothing like that is happening right now, because with the oil spill, this would be the worst case scenario in June. A system coming up from the due south, not a real strong hurricane enough to disperse a lot of oil, but rather just drag it onto the shoreline. What would happen is it would take all the oil from over here and just shove it right into the Florida Panhandle. So that would be the worst case scenario if we had another Agnes situation. Luckily, nothing like that is happening. There's a broad upper level low in the western Gulf of Mexico. That is an upper level low, and it's not going to develop anything tropically. Now here is the GFS shear maps from yesterday, and I talked about our system Invest 92L, which was right here in the red circle, and look at the shear that it's about to encroach on. And we thought there was a chance that this could become a tropical depression or a storm, as well as the National Hurricane Center, before it reached the shear zone. But it looks like it's already reached that shear. And if we look at the next image, this is today's actual map, and we can see that our low is right on the edge of this, right about here. And I think it's probably more than likely the shear is affecting the system at this time. This system's been flaring up at nighttime and dying down during the day. So tonight it'll flare up again, but I have a feeling that this wind shear is going to definitely do this in overnight and tomorrow. Now here is the forecast for the shear 48 hours from now. It backs off, and you can see it's all through the Greater Antilles here, and it's basically going to travel in tandem with this tropical system as it moves through the Greater Antilles. So no development is expected, and this should remain weak as it moves through the Greater Antilles. Here are the latest model runs on the front page of Hurricane City by clicking the models on the front page on the tracking chart. And the official forecast takes this right towards the Greater Antilles and into Hispaniola, following kind of the Canadian model's thinking here. The Canadian model keeps this as a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm in about 5 days out here. The other models pretty much weaken this. The GFDL lets go of it. The HWRF model keeps it as a weak system going through the Greater Antilles. So basically, anybody in the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, South Florida, and the Gulf of Mexico, this could end up affecting you in some sort of way, but I don't think there's going to be much left of this with all the wind shear and dry air out there. Now here is the graphical outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We see they've lowered the percentages now to 20% on this system. And again, this system in the Gulf of Mexico is primarily an upper level low. We'll keep an eye on it, but it looks like this is going to end up just moving inland and not affecting anybody, at least as far as high winds and stirring up the Gulf of Mexico. We have another strong wave emerging off the coast of Africa. It's a little bit too early yet, but this one almost developed, so we'll have to watch this one as well as it travels here to the south. In fact, an interesting note, the ECMWF, the European model, does develop something here near the Windward Islands going around the 24th and heading into the Caribbean Sea, so we'll wait and see if that happens. And by the way, that year that Agnes developed in the Gulf of Mexico on this time of the year, it turned out we only had 7 named storms that year, so there's no indication with it, if you have an early system in June, that you're going to have an active hurricane season. And touching on 2005, the last really active season we had 28 named storms. We were only up to the first named storm at this time in the 2005 season. Well, that's it for now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.